Our next guest is the ultimate insider of the New York media scene of the new millennium, having served as editor-in-chief at Honey and Ebony and making history as the first Black woman to lead a major mainstream magazine when she joined Teen People in 2003. Today, she has turned her experience into inspiration for her debut novel, If I Ruled the World. Here to tell us all about it, please welcome Amy DuBois Barnett. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, Sunny. I'm so excited.
Your new book. I love this book, If I Ruled the World. It was the best escape. I needed it. I think we all need it right now. You've called it a coming of power story,
yes,
which I love. So tell us about the book.
Yes. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm so excited for everybody to have this book in their hands. It is a novel set in late 1990s, early 2000s, New York City, kind of at the intersection of the music industry, magazines, and fashion, right? And as you know, this is one of the most important cultural eras of our time. So it's like a behind-the-scenes peek into that era. And we're following the journey of my protagonist, Nikki Rose, who is a Black woman, not exactly coming of age, right? Because she's 29 when we first meet her, but she's coming of power inside of these institutional, important institutions.
I love that term, coming of power.
Yeah, she's coming of power inside these influential institutions where, you know, glamour and romance and friendship exist alongside misogyny, racism, and also danger. It's a very perilous time to be a woman. And so Nikki, my protagonist, is really trying to figure out, you know, what she's willing to sacrifice and who she's willing to become in order to realize her dream.
Something that many women have to deal with. Now, you began writing your novel in your 30s, but put it aside for 20 years, unfinished, to grow this incredible career that you've had. What was it like, though, to go back to the story? I imagine your perception was changed by your lived experience, right?
Exactly. When I started this novel, I was the editor-in-chief of Teen People. So I was in my mid-30s, and I was in it, right? And so when I was first writing the book, it was like this plucky, smart girl wants to be an editor-in-chief, and you know what I mean? And so that was the story. And, you know, I put it aside to have, you know, my career in media. I didn't have the creative bandwidth. And then all of a sudden, the story would not leave my mind. And then a few years ago, I just felt more urgent than ever, you know, and I realized that it wasn't just about a girl who wants to be an EIC. It was about the price of ambition. It was about finding your voice. It was about dealing with rampant misogyny. You know what I mean? It was about the era, you know, that I was writing, in which the book is set, and everything that we as ambitious women dealt with during those times. And so
and still deal with.
and still deal with, exactly. And so that's when the story became so much more urgent for me, and I had a different perspective, and I wrote it differently.
Well, there's a moment in the book where your main character, Nikki, is told, Black girls don't sell magazines, which was something I learned that you drew from personal experience, right? How much of your own story, then, is in this book?
I mean, I'm bracing myself. I'm bracing myself because, I mean, as you know, there's some stuff in this book. It is not a roman à clé. It is not my personal journey, but obviously it's set in a world I know better than almost anyone. And it's inspired by my experience as an editor-in-chief and some of the things that I experienced, many of the things that I observed.
Will people recognize themselves?
They're going to try. Everybody's they're gonna be, who's Alonzo? Who's Kiara? Like, I know that's gonna happen. I'm getting ready for it.
That happened to me when I was writing my books, because I actually wrote about my friends.
God.
Yeah, they weren't that happy. Some of them were.
I changed the names to protect the innocent and the guilty.
Well, you mentioned the 90s and the early 2000s. I think that was sort of the golden age of hip-hop and R&B, to be honest with you. However, behind the curtain, it was filled, as you've mentioned, with misogyny, as we saw, let's say, during the Diddy trial. You said you feel fortunate to have come out of that era with your career and your soul intact. What were some of the things that you witnessed? I know you've written about some of them, but give us an example of some of the things you witnessed.
I mean, you know, I was in about 5 documentaries on Puffy, you know, because I was not in the inner circle, but I was in culture at that time, of course, and observed many things that happened during that time. And it was, again, a very perilous time to be a woman. You know, there was a lot of expectation from certain kinds of men who were used to getting what they wanted. and who are using their power as currency.
And people knew it. Let's say like with Puffy and others, people knew this kind of thing was going on.
Everybody, we were all experiencing it, but there was no recourse. It was part of the culture, and so there was nowhere to protest. There was no Me Too movement yet. We all just sort of contended with it, and so I've personally dealt with all manner of things. I've been propositioned by artists. I've been propositioned by industry executives. I've been cornered at parties. I've been cornered in limousines. I've been, many things have happened to me and to my friends, and I have many friends who have not come out as unscathed as me. And so it was important for me to make sure that I wrote about that era from the perspective of a woman, so you can understand what it felt like.
Yeah, wow. Well, in your book, the main character, Nikki, is an ambitious woman. What is your advice, especially to Black women who are often the first, right, in their fields as you were, on steps they can take to turn that ambition into a success story?
Oh, God, that's such a good question. I mean, I really believe that fear is growth. That is one of the core tenets of how I have approached my career and how I kind of walk through the world in general. I think that it's impossible to become everything that you can possibly be professionally and personally unless you step outside of your comfort zone, unless you necessarily become uncomfortable.
Right.
And many of us are so unwilling or so nervous about stepping out into the unknown and taking that risk. But that is how you grow. That's how you evolve. And so I think the first thing I would say is to understand that fear is growth. And it's only when you confidently step outside and you understand that this discomfort is part of, how you're going to become successful, but also that you have to do it confidently, because the universe is not going to give you opportunities that you don't think you deserve. Right. And so that's the core of it. It's just knowing that you deserve the opportunities, even if you don't have the skills yet, stepping outside of your comfort zone to explore this sort of unknown world, and then being confident in the fact that fear is growth.
I love that. Now, you announced some exciting news recently that I saw. A screen adaptation of If I Rule the World is in the works. What can you tell us, if anything, about that?
I know, I'm so thrilled. I am so
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled. I mean, my book was discovered by a very powerful Hollywood executive, I think by a book scout, and she read it, loved it, and gave it to Lee Daniels.
Yeah.
And now we are in development, Lee and I, on the television adaptation of the book with Hulu.
And you're writing.
And Lee and I are co-writing the pilot. So I am thrilled, because when I wrote this book, I saw it cinematically.
Yes.
I saw every scene play out in my eyes.
You can see it. It's a very visual read.
I really saw it like that. And so the opportunity for it to be on screen is something that I have wanted since I picked the book back up, and I'm just thrilled that we now have an opportunity to make it happen.
Now, let me ask you this, because I would imagine when you're writing, you either have a vision board or you sort of see in your mind's eye what each character looks like. Do you have any dream casting that you're thinking about?
I mean,
Nikki or...
I know, Nikki. I think that for many reasons, I've got two Z's.
Okay.
My Nikki is two Z's.
Okay.
I have thought often about Zendaya.
She's incredible.
I know, she is an incredible actor, and there's so many aspects of this character that would be good for her. I don't know that she would be doing more TV shows at this point, though.
Yeah.
I also love Zazie Bates.
Oh, wow.
I love Zazie Bates so much. I think that she is a really interesting actress. I love her vibe, and so she's on my vision board.
Oh, well, congratulations. This is going to just be so successful. I just know it. I know it. I enjoyed it.
You.
So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Our thanks to Amy DuBois Barnett. Her debut novel, If I Rule the World, is out right now, and you can scan the QR code on your screen to get it.